Hello, Starknet family. Welcome back to the Star Cafe. I'm Nurstar, your personal Stark barista. And once again, we are ready to serve you some very special Starknet content. So, my dear friends, let's start a new week on the right foot as we are going to host Matteo from Pragma X. From Pragma, sorry, in order to talk about the recent developments of this Starknet native Oracle and also about Pragma X, which is their latest product that was announced during the recent Starknet CC. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from Matteo about this new product. But first of all, yeah, let's give him a warm welcome. Hello, Matteo. Welcome to the Star Cafe. How are you?
Hello, Nostar. Thanks a lot for having me. All good. What about you?
I'm great, Matteo. Yeah, thanks a lot for coming. It's been a while. I wanted to host Pragma at the Star Cafe, and yeah, I'm also very happy because I'm together with Nadai, a friend. We also launched Stark Easy, a new educational initiative, which is a learning app and academy to help people learn about Starknet. So the future looks bright. Let's see how we will develop. And yeah, having said that, let's start our Star Cafe session by by starting more or less from the basics. And first of all, I'd like to know a short introduction about yourself. And then, yeah, as I was saying, let's start with the basics by telling us what an oracle is and why it is such an important piece of infrastructure in the Web3 space.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to start by introducing myself. I'm Matteo. I'm the CEO of Pragma. I'm basically a computer science and embedded systems engineer. And I worked 2 years in the hardware industry before. And then my co-founder, who was in the engineering school with me, brought me to crypto, something like late 2019, and that's when I started to build really in crypto, especially around the Ethereum ecosystem. We built a lot on open source software on Ethereum, and then on layers 2. And then in late 2021, so October 2021, we discovered Starknet. It was through Louis Guzman from Starkware who introduced us to Starknet, and it just made a lot of sense to us. All the infrastructure and everything that is being built on Starknet, especially the tools to build validity proofs, so Cairo, the sharp prover. And so back at that time, we decided to go all in on Starknet and start building in Cairo. Yeah, so that's basically how we ended up working on Pragma, the Oracle, and yeah, just a few words about what are oracles, what is really important about oracles. So um, there's like many. It's really broad. It's a really broad application, but an oracle is basically a connection between a blockchain and everything else than a blockchain. So it's like mostly a connection between blockchain and Web 2. Basically, you can think of it as Web 2, Web 3 connection. And so there's two sides of the connection. There's like from Web 2 to a blockchain. And so that's the part we're going to talk about because that's what we are focusing on. But there's also the other part, like getting data from the blockchain to Web2 applications. But that's not what we're focusing on. We're really focusing on bringing off-chain data on-chain. And so there's a lot of applications that require an oracle, especially if you need to get financial data, since most of the markets right now are off-chain. You can think about DEXs, derivatives products that are, most of the volume is off-chain. And so when you build a DeFi application, 90%, like 95% of the time, you will need an oracle. If you're building anything that requires data that is not available on chain, so you might need an oracle. So that's like a really important piece of the infrastructure, and it's like really worth looking into it.
Very good, Matteo. What a great explanation and easy one about oracles. And it was also very nice to hear about your background, because it reminded me, of the early days when I was, moving my first steps in the Starknet ecosystem. And I remember that you were one, of the first builders that I met. Also, if I remember, we had a call during the first months.
Yeah, actually, you were one of the first people I talked to in the Stark ecosystem. I think the first one was Gurka,
Okay.
Crypto Gurka, who was like participating in one of our first Twitter space that we had back in the days. So yeah, it was some time ago now.
Yeah, sometime a long time ago. Yeah, and it was very very nice. I still remember it with a lot of happiness, let's say. And well, having said that, I like to know now. I would like to go a bit deeper into the Pragma project. So I would like to know, when was Pragma founded, and what makes you different from other oracles, and lastly, why did you choose to build on Starknet?
Yeah, so I'm going to take your questions in like the from the end to the beginning, because it was much more like we decided to build on Starknet before even like thinking to build an oracle. And so yeah, I think that what was the most important in like our way of thinking back in the days was mostly that Starknet brings so much things and so much tools that you can leverage in order to have like great technology for your project, especially how you can leverage validity proofs even without getting into all the complexity of building provers, building verifiers, and this kind of stuff. So you can just leverage Cairo, and so it generates a trace that then you can just pass it into a prover, and you get a validity proof. So that's game changing for any developer. We're not like cryptographers; we're more software developers, and so we can leverage all the incredible work from Starkware in order to build applications. And so that's why we started to build on Starknet. And so we had quite a long path before building oracles. But why we started oracles is basically my co-founder Matthias was working at MakerDAO before. So he was mainly in the Starknet core unit of Maker, and his job was to bridge DAI on Starknet. And so in like middle of last year, Maker was trying to find an oracle on Starknet, and so that's when we started to dig into oracles, because I think that like most of the people out there are using Chainlink, and so nobody is really wondering how oracles work, what are the different trust assumptions when you are using one. And so we started to dig into the different solutions, and what really stood out was the fact that there's a really big difference in trust assumptions between blockchain and oracle. So there's like a blockchain. So if you take, for instance, Ethereum, you have like thousands of nodes that are verifying every step of the computation that happens on Ethereum. So if you're a dev and you deploy a lending protocol, for instance, all the logic is secured by thousands of computers. But at the end, you need to get data from for like asset prices. So you need, for instance, the price of ETH, and this price you're getting it through an oracle, which is a trusted service. At the end, like Chainlink is like tens of nodes with at the end a multisig, and so there's this big difference in terms of security between a blockchain itself and an oracle. But at the end, a protocol and so a DApp is only as secure as the least secure part of it. And so we were just saying like it just doesn't make sense to have thousands of computers that are verifying the logic, and at the end you get data from a multisig. And so that's how we basically started to work on oracles, because we have all the tools that Starkware is bringing on the table. So validity proofs, Cairo, and so we can now leverage all those tools in the oracle world in order to make oracles much more trustless and transparent, so that you don't need to rely on a trusted service if you're running a DeFi protocol or any other kind of protocol on a blockchain.
Awesome. And Matteo, what projects in the Starknet ecosystem are currently using Pragma as an oracle?
Yeah, so on mainnet, there's all the protocols that are using an oracle. So zkland, Nostra, even though Nostra is like limited in terms of how much you can deposit, I think. And there's the last one is Carmine Options. So that's the three ones on mainnet and a bunch of others in testnet. But yeah.
Very good. Speaking about Carmine options, I would like to remind our listeners that we are hosting them at the Star Cafe on this Thursday. So get ready for an interesting episode about options trading, and also maybe we'll be speaking a bit also about their experience in dealing with the Pragma Oracle. And having said that, before continuing with our Star Cafe session, I would love, to remind our listeners and also the ones who will listen to these episodes later on, that we are like the Nurstar team is. You can support the Nurstar team and our educational formats through the ongoing Gitcoin grants. And so basically, you can simply go to the Gitcoin page, go to the Explorer, type Nurstar's educational formats, which includes Star Cafe, Starknet Daily Recap, and Hablando de Starknet. And there you'll be able to support us. And in case you also have the Gitcoin passport, your donation will be matched from with money that will be coming from a grant pool of $250,000 for the community initiatives. So yeah, if you would like to give us some help, feel free to go to the Gitcoins Explorer page, and we would be very grateful for that. Thanks a lot in advance. And yeah, let's continue this episode, Matteo. And I wanted to ask you, I was at the Starknet CC, we met, and I had an amazing time. And I also had the luck to attend the talk from Matthias, where you announced the Pragma X service. So let's explain a bit what Pragma X is. I know that it's powered by the Madara Starknet sequencer, and it also uses the storage proofs from the Herodotus team. So tell us a bit more about it and on how it relates itself with these two important pieces of infra, such as Madara on one end and the storage proofs on the other.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Starknet CC and ECC were like amazing. So much energy in the Starknet ecosystem, and we can really see all the pieces coming along. So it was like a great event, and don't hesitate to come to Brussels next year, because it's always great to meet the community there. But yeah, so we announced Pragma X, which is a shiny name just for the V2 of the Oracle. So the V1 of the Oracle is the one running on mainnet right now. And so in a nutshell, how it works, the V1 is you have data providers, and so market makers and centralized exchanges that are signing data. This data is sent to Starknet, so to our smart contracts on Starknet. Then the aggregation happens on the smart contract. And so we compute final prices of assets, volatility, liquidity, any kind of data. And so what's great about this is that since it's on Starknet, at the end you get a Stark proof, and so all the aggregation is proven. And so you don't need to rely on any kind of trust model like a honest majority assumption. It's just like validity proofs provide you with trustlessness. So that's how different from other oracles our oracle is. But the Pragma X is the V2 of this oracle, and basically it provides the oracle with a higher frequency of updates, so we can get up to 200 milliseconds updates, and it's like a much faster iteration of the oracle. And so how it works is pretty much the same idea as the V1. So you have data providers that are signing data, but rather than signing data and sending it to Starknet, those people are sending it on the Pragma chain, which is basically, you can think of it as a Starknet-like chain. It's basically, it leverages Madara. So Madara is a Starknet sequencer. It's built on Substrate, and so it's just like it's the equivalent of the OP stack, but to build Starknet app chains. And so so the flow is like this: data providers sign data, send it to the Pragma chain. And so what happens on the Pragma chain is that the transactions are sequenced, and then there's a proof, and so a Stark proof that prove all the aggregation of the data. And you can consume the proofs, and so you can consume the data from any other chain. So for instance, if you're on Starknet and you want to consume data, you can just pull the storage proof. And so this happens through Herodotus API. And basically you just, Herodotus takes care of bridging the block header between the Pragma chain to any target chain. And then you can verify the proof and access all the state of the rollup, and so access any type of data. And so you're able to consume data from this storage proof. And so that's basically how Pragma X works. So I hope I wasn't too, and I hope I was clear, and everything is good for you.
Absolutely, Matteo. I'm learning a lot. And yeah, your explanation was pretty clear, very simple, and easy to understand. Thanks a lot for that. And actually, I was scrolling down the Pragma's X account, and X in this case means Twitter. And yeah, I saw that you wrote a new article on Mirror, and which reads oracles are dead, long live the oracles. So maybe could you just explain a bit what this article is about?
Sure. Yeah. Basically, it's just like to announce a series of articles, but basically it explains pretty much the same thing I explained at the very beginning of the call. The fact that today oracles are introducing too much just assumptions if you want to use them on any blockchain. because basically the security model of oracles are way weaker than the security models of blockchains, and so it introduces weak links in your the app on any blockchain. And so it's just to announce the fact that, and to also explain the architecture of our Oracle and how we plan to fill the gap between the two different security models we have today between blockchains and oracles.
Very good. So, guys from the audience, remember to have a look at the latest article from Pragma. And once again, thanks a lot for tuning in at the Star Cafe. And well, we're coming to the end of our session, but before doing it, I would like to know also which are the practical steps that projects should take in order to implement the Pragma, the Pragma Oracle in their protocol. So let's assume, we at Stark Easy we need an Oracle. What should we do in order to implement Pragma, or like Pragma X in the near future?
Sure. So that's really two different things. Between the two oracles are really different. So the V1 and the V2. The V1 that is live on Testnet and on mainnet on Starknet is really easy to use because it's a smart contract that lives on Starknet, and you can just call the view function from this contract in order to get the data you want. So we support mainly, we are pretty focused on financial use cases, and so we support mainly prices of assets, and so prices of cryptocurrencies, and so that's mainly what you can get through our smart contracts. There's also other types of data such as realized volatility, a yield curve. But yeah, if you need anything else, feel free to ping us. So in order to use those, the V1 that is the most battle tested and that is live on mainnet, it's just basically calling a view function. If you want to use the V2 and so Pragma X, it's only on testnet right now, and it's pretty early to use it. It's still a beta version, and so you will need to wait a little bit in order to use it on Starknet, because there's still the Herodotus integration that is pretty slow. But basically, the mechanism that is going to be live like in September is that you're going to how do you use it from the app quickly is when you need the oracle on the front end of your D app, you're calling Herodotus API from the front end in order to get the data updated on chain. And once the data is updated on chain and so on Starknet, you can just verify the storage proof there and use it in your smart contract. You just need to make sure that the storage proof is recent enough. So just check the timestamp of the storage proof, and you can use it in your protocol. But it's only on testnet right now and not really usable yet. So feel free to follow us if you want to leverage it in the near future.
I see. Thanks a lot, Matteo. And so, guys, we already we now know what to do in case we need an oracle. And well, let's speak a bit about the future. How does the future look like for Pragma? And when mainnet for Pragma X?
That's a good question because it's really hard to say since there's a big gap between a really good testnet and a production ready mainnet, and we've been seeing this with the different zk rollups. So it usually takes at least 6 months. So I'd say it will be live on mainnet by the end of the year. That's our target, but no promise here. So that's pretty much what we want to do, and we'll see how it goes, how the development of Madara goes. But I think we'll be ready by the end of the year.
Very good. Just, the last fun follow-up question would be, did you call it Pragma X, after this Twitter crazy meme?
No, not really. No, it's like there's like a lot of projects on Testnet that use the X, like for instance, Argent X. It's mostly for like exploration. Basically, the fact that we're leveraging new technology and exploring beyond what was available before. It just stands for this, so not really the X from Twitter. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you got a lot of free marketing, that's very
Exactly.
very good. Yeah. Well, Matteo, I've had a great time having you at the Star Cafe. I learned a lot
Same on my end.
about. Thanks, man. I learned a lot about oracles, and so did the audience for sure. And well, we're coming to the end. So first of all, thanks a lot for coming once again. And I would also like to thank all our listeners, Eat Daily, Calcutat, Exodus, Out Something, Kodawari, Yaso. And I wanted to remind you once again that if you want to support us, feel free to go to the Gitcoin, to the current Gitcoins round, and support us by typing Nurstar's educational formats, and you will be able to support us there. And I also see there's Mart among the listeners. There's Mart, and she is also he or she is also managing a Gitcoin, a Gitcoin profile, La Madriguera, which is about reforestation. So have a look at Madriguera and Nurstar's Stacknet educational formats. And having said that, once again, thanks a lot, Matteo, for coming.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. And yeah, have a good end of the day. So it's the end of the day for me. So, but have a good day for the others.
Exactly. And well, see you next time. Maybe when Pragma X will be running on mainnet, hopefully.
And yeah, hopefully.
See you then.
Yes, and see you. Thanks.
So guys, it's time to close. Remember to share the Stacknet vibe, and see you next time. Bye guys. Bye Matteo. Bye Out Something. Bye Kodawari, Exodus, Hit Daily, Mart, Robert, and yeah.